Welcome to the Educating Kids and Connecting Families podcast. I'm your host, Christine Furman, a homeschool mom, entrepreneur, and educator with over 20 years of experience in the areas of elementary and special education. It's my mission to provide your family with encouragement, inspiration, and connection. I'll equip you with resources and expert advice to help you effectively educate your kids in a fun and meaningful way. If you value education, quality family moments, and community, you're in the right spot. We'll discuss all things parenthood, education, homeschool, ways to balance it all, and so much more. Join us each week as we empower you to raise kind, confident, and independent kids while building community and connection. Welcome to episode 52 of Educating Kids and Connecting Families. I'm your host, Christine Furman, and happy Christmas Eve. Well, I hope you are enjoying time with family and friends, or maybe you're out doing last-minute shopping, trying to get it all done and ready for Christmas Day. Well, first, I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas from my family to yours. And I want to share a little bit about our Christmas traditions in our family. And I also want to discuss how to survive Christmas break. So Christmas break's coming up. Maybe it already started for your family. And what does that look like? Well, some of you, it might be 2 weeks off of school with your kids and they're home, schedule changes. What does that look like? How do you feel about this? Or maybe your homeschool family. Schedule doesn't change that much, but maybe you are doing things a little bit different. Maybe there's some unstructured time. Or are you keeping up with your normal lessons? Well, I want to know what you guys are doing this holiday season and how you are surviving your Christmas break. I'm going to share some tips and strategies with you today to help you have fun and peace and enjoyment through Christmas and all the way to the new year. Well, I want to talk to you first a little bit about our Christmas. So some of you may be shopping all the way up until Christmas Eve and making sure that you find the perfect gift for Christmas Day. In our family, we celebrate Italian Christmas. So we are Italian on my dad's side, and we always celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. So the 7 fishes, we don't do it as much anymore, but that was where this tradition started for our family. And they would do 7 fishes. They would do Christmas Eve was when we exchanged gifts. And that was really our big celebration. And so we needed to have all of our shopping done before Christmas Eve. So even a day sooner than most of the shoppers, you could be out still shopping on Christmas Eve, but we had to have all of that done ahead of time. And it was so nice because we did enjoy, and we still do enjoy Christmas Eve get together. So we have dinner and then we do all of our gift exchange with the kids. The kids do all of theirs first and then the adults and, just continues on from there. And just really enjoying that family time together. And then on Christmas Day, it's much more of a lazy kind of a day. We enjoy the morning. We have cinnamon rolls in the morning. We watch the movie The Star. So I do believe that it's streaming on some networks this year. We actually purchased the DVD because one year we couldn't find it. It wasn't streaming or I had to pay for it or something. So we actually have that. And it's an animated movie, but it just goes through the story of Christmas. So we loved it. We stumbled across it one year when the kids were little, and they still ask for that every year. So cinnamon rolls, the movie The Star, just enjoying Christmas morning in our PJs. And we as a family would open some gifts up together and then have a more relaxed evening dinner at a family's. So those are just some of our little traditions, not a lot of, crazy traditions or anything like that. But I would definitely love to know what are some of your holiday traditions. And I love learning about you and your family and what are some things that you do differently. Maybe what are some of the things you do the same. So definitely share some of those holiday traditions in our Facebook group, Educating Kids, Connecting Families. And I just want to get connected with you and know a little bit more about you and your family. So then we come to the second part of what we're really going to be talking about today is all right, the kids are out of school. What do we do? Right? Is it a time to go, oh my goodness, what am I going to do for 2 weeks to entertain them, to keep them occupied, to keep the peace, reduce the arguing, the frustration? Or is it maybe your homeschool family, right? And maybe it goes that way as well, right? Too. But maybe it's like, all right, the schedule shifts a little bit. We change things up. We're not going to do our normal lessons. We're going to enjoy more baking, more time together. What does that look like for you guys? So, I also would love to know what that looks like. What do the last 2 weeks of the year look like for you and your family? Do you feel like you're just surviving till the kids go back to school? Or do you feel like you are leaning in to the spirit and just enjoying the time together as a family? Well, let's be honest, December flies by, right? It's full of holiday activities, shopping, baking, all the things. If your kids are in programs, there's tons of school programs going on, Secret Santa shopping, you name it, there's probably something going on, right? If your kids aren't in school, there's still a lot of things going on. We've had dance performances, different events and activities that we don't normally do. And I just want to know, are you enjoying the time? And we talked a little bit about this last episode about our boundaries and about who are we doing all of the things for. Some of the things are required and we need to do them because they were already scheduled by someone else and we just need to do it. Or are we trying to do all the holiday things, stressing ourselves out, stressing our family out, and just doing it to kind of keep up with everyone else? Well, I have to do this because it's December, and I have to do this because we have to do it before, it's Christmas time and we have to do X, Y, and Z. Well, I want you to think about it and reevaluate your have tos and think about what are your boundaries for this time of year. I definitely encourage you to check out last episode. It was a little bit of a longer episode that I did with Denise, and it was such a good episode. Lots of wonderful takeaways about setting up these boundaries and how to navigate them if maybe it's something that you are just getting started to do. So definitely check out that episode. But I want you to lean into this and say, okay, what are the things that I have to do? Make sure those things are on the calendar. And then all of the other things, these are maybes. For us, I didn't do a traditional Christmas card this year. Time got away from us. Thanksgiving was late. We had a lot of things going on. My husband was traveling. We were leaving for Pittsburgh. And it was just something that just didn't get done this year. I didn't bake at my home as I normally do. Hopefully, I can bake some more cookies in Pittsburgh. But I didn't bake as much here in my own home in Georgia as I like to do. I didn't do gift giving like I normally do. I love to gift give to my neighbors and to, all of the people around in our community. And I just wasn't able to do that. I just ran out of time. Or I didn't even hang up all of our Christmas lights outside of our home. But what I did do is I enjoyed the time with my kids. We made the cookies that we enjoyed making them together and decorating them together. We did a whole experiment that was what's the difference between cake and cookies? And it was just so cool to just be in the kitchen with them and learn and practice measurement and time and comparing and contrasting these two recipes. And then the best part was taste testing it all, right? But we really got to lean into that and set the time aside and enjoy that time together. We put up our Christmas tree earlier than normal because it it really does bring me joy to sit in my living room with the Christmas tree lit. Now, I don't want that all year for us and our family, but I wanted it for an extended period of time. And that's what mattered to me. The lights on the outside, yeah, I enjoy seeing the lights outside our home, but it didn't happen this year. And I'm okay with that. We have wreaths up. I have one little tiny tree on my porch, and I'm okay with that. So it's leaning into what matters most for you. And definitely check out some of the previous episodes because I really talked about that more in those episodes. But I just want to share that give yourself grace right now. And that's kind of where this is going is like, what is something that you can let go of and be okay with it? So just giving yourself grace because you are doing an amazing job. It is a busy time of year. And you may be working on top of all of this, trying to wrap up the year, trying to reflect on 2024 and say, what am I going to do different in 2025? Again, give yourself grace. We're going to talk all about that in the next episode of what does this look like for next year. So stay tuned for next episode too, because I'm going to share about vision boards and, how are we, looking forward to next year. So we are going to talk about that next episode. But I want to know about the kids, right? What about the kids? How are we surviving Christmas break? Are we leaning into the chaos and saying, okay, you know what? It is what it is. And we're just going to all be overwhelmed, exhausted, frustrated, yelling, arguing? Or are we going to lean into structure, routines, peace, the ease of it all, and enjoying the moments? I know that's what I want to lean into. I know I've had many times of that frustration, that overwhelm that I just am getting through today and getting to the next day. So maybe your kids are homeschooled and they're already home. So having that 2 weeks off, in between Christmas and New Year's, it may change a little bit depending on maybe you live in a neighborhood and the kids are off from school as well. So maybe you have more kids either at your house or your kids are going to visit neighbors or friends. Maybe that does change a little bit. Or maybe not much changes at all. Maybe you kind of stick with your normal routine and schedule. Your kids know what's expected in the morning and what they need to accomplish and get done for the day to get the day going. Maybe you do a little bit of your normal lessons, or maybe you have some time off and you say, you know what, we're going to lean into some more baking and fun activities and those hands on activities, whether it's gift giving, going to the store and, making sure that we have enough money and budgeting. That's all part of school. So if you are doing these things and you're homeschooling, or if you're not homeschooling, you are still educating your children in a way that is meaningful to them, in a way that is going to make an impact in their life by setting a budget for gift giving, by going to the store and navigating the crowds or shopping on Amazon, shopping small businesses, whatever means the most and whatever you can lean into in this season. Because sometimes we do have to do next day or 2 day shipping because we're running out of time or it's not there at the store. But then sometimes we can lean into the small businesses and say, hey, I really would love to gift something that they have and support that small business. So think about that too while you're shopping. But again, that's all part of your child's education, budgeting, spending the money, talking to the cashier, navigating the crowds and the people, everyone's moods, while you're out and about. The other thing could be maybe you're volunteering. Maybe you're volunteering at your church or at a local shelter or somewhere, but also teaching our kids the empathy and what is out there. For us at our church, we do a giving tree and we purchase gifts and we take those gifts back to church. And then they do a whole Christmas for our community that needs it. And so when we're shopping for these gifts, my kids and I, we talk about that. We talk about, wow, how this gift is really going to impact a family and what we can do to give back to them. So, and we talk about different situations, less fortunate situations, or different ways that we can support our community. So, volunteering, again, homeschool or not, this is an opportunity to teach your children. Wrapping the gifts, right? Wrapping our gifts can be a total learning opportunity. First of all, it's all angles and math and, measurement and right. So we can really hone in on the math side of it all, but it's a skill that is something that your kids are probably going to do in their life. Now, could they put them in a bag? Absolutely. But we probably want to teach them how to wrap something at some point. So being able to show them this skill and how can we wrap something up and put a bow on it? Or why are we wrapping it? Or, right? There's so many different conversations. And then as we are spending this intentional time with our kids, this opens up the door to have these intentional conversations with our kids and ask them, ask them questions. Let them share what's on their mind. Sometimes, and this has come up multiple times for me in the past few weeks, sometimes our kids have so much to say, and we're always moving on to the next thing and moving on to the next thing. And they don't always have time to share what's on their mind. So maybe it's just allowing them that opportunity to talk and share what's on their mind and be able to enjoy that time together. Another thing that maybe you're doing is just snuggling up, watching movies, having hot chocolate, just enjoying the peace of the season. So maybe that's what your time looks like right now. Another for us as a homeschool family, we'll be traveling. So that means learning in the car. That means learning while we are at my parents'. That means having conversations often about different topics. That even means that a topic that they're talking with my parents about can be an opportunity for learning, whether they're figuring out how to start a fire or whether they're figuring out how to whatever comes up for your family. Again, it can be a learning opportunity. Maybe they're learning a new skill. I know Ella is excited to talk with my mom and grandma about sewing. And I'm excited for her for that because that's not my area of expertise. I did not like home ec class. I like to bake and cook. Sewing was just not my thing. I did not enjoy it. And she is into it right now. So I am leaning into, well, who can I connect you with that is going to help enhance this skill for you? And that's going to be my parents. So again, that learning doesn't always have to happen from us as the parent. There are other people in their lives that they're learning from as well. So that could be some of the changes that may be happening during this time. Maybe your kids are in school. So now your schedule is going to be drastically changing, whether that means your kids have to go to camp because you still work, or that means everyone's off for the next 1 to 2 weeks. And that's a different schedule than normal, right? Everyone's home. So you might need to stock up on extra groceries and snacks because now everyone's going to be hungry and there's a lot more people in the house all day, right? So think about that. And then think about, do you have a schedule? Is there a relaxed schedule of like, this is kind of what we're doing, or is there no schedule at all? So then it's kind of like a free for all, which then can lead to that frustration, that overwhelm, that exhaustion, that argument, right? So what can we do about this? Well, here's a few ideas that I was thinking that may be able to help some families in this situation. We're normally home anyway, but our schedule's changing a little bit. Or you guys aren't normally home together. The kids are off for 2 weeks and you're ready to pull your hair out. What do I do? Right? Well, this can help everyone. So a few things: start to have a family meeting. And maybe that starts back, obviously I know we're at the end of December now, but it could start today, right? A family meeting, bring everyone together, no electronics. We're all coming together to discuss the expectations, the schedule, and then even asking our kids, what is it that you want to do over Christmas break? Allowing them to have an input in the conversation as well. So the expectation during Christmas break is this amount of time on screens, or we're going to be traveling, so we need to be ready, or we are having dinner here, so we need to make sure the house is clean and everything's picked up. Sharing everything that is happening with the family so then you as mom don't feel like it's all on you because it doesn't have to be. You are one person, and there are probably at least two other people in your home, and they can help in some way. So, being clear about those expectations, being clear about what is happening over the next few weeks. And maybe you have no plans. And it's like, listen, we've got no plans, but I need to make sure that I have some time for myself, or I need to make sure that I need time to work, or we are going to do these activities. So again, it's allowing everyone to kind of know what's expected, know what's coming up, and discuss the schedule that you guys have, or come up with a schedule, right? If it's free for all, we don't really have plans, great. Do you want to come up with a schedule? So then that way everyone's kind of on the same page. And sure, not everyone needs to wake up and be out the door by 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, but I'd really prefer everyone to be ready by 9 o'clock. So if you sleep in, great. If you don't, here are the options that you can do because you're not sleeping in, right? But maybe someone else is sleeping in. So if you wake up before everyone else, here are your options. You can read a book, you can build a puzzle, or you can play quietly in your room, right? Giving our kids these expectations of what do they need to do during this time? Because if not, they don't know. They don't know what they need to do. So we need to be able to tell them. And coming up with that schedule of like, okay, well, we still need to make sure that these things are being completed, right? Well, we all have to have breakfast. And what does that look like? Well, our breakfast options are this. On, Friday, we have more time. So maybe we'll make pancakes, right? So really talking about all of these details and leaning in because it does make a big difference when everyone knows what's expected. And then asking our kids, what do you want to do over Christmas break? Is there something specific that you really want to do? Is it seeing a friend? Is it going somewhere? Is it doing something? Maybe all they want to do is build a puzzle as a family. Maybe all they want to do is watch a movie together, right? It doesn't necessarily have to cost anything. Maybe they just want to go drive around and look at Christmas lights. But what is it that they want to do, and see how you can incorporate that into your schedule. And maybe if it's something that's not able to be done, you talk about it and you say, listen, I think that's a great idea. I don't know that we're going to be able to do that this time, but what we could do, and then come up with a variation of that. So just hearing what they would like, their input, and then being able to come up with some kind of compromise or be able to do it. So maybe you're looking for some structure and you're like, what do I do? How do I do this? Right? Well, we talked about it a little bit by putting a routine in place. Every day you need to get up, you need to get dressed, you need to put your clothes in the dirty clothes, you need to brush your teeth, brush your hair, and you need to make sure you have breakfast. Again, these are probably things that your kids do every morning before school or, if you're home to get your day started, right? But just continuing that expectation because the time may be different, right? Well, you get to sleep in, but you still need to make sure that these things get done. I still need you to help with the chores around the house. And telling our kids that, right? If your kids are not normally home, what is a chore that they can do to help alleviate the stress, to give them something to do? Because sometimes our kids just need a task. My kids are coming in and they're asking me as I'm trying to work, Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Hey, would you mind switching the laundry for me? Could you empty the dishwasher? Can you guys wash the dishes? Let me tell you, by giving my kids a list of things that needed to be done before we traveled or while I was working, they were able to do those because they knew what needed to be done. Now, I understand that that's not all kids. And I understand that that may be so crazy to hear that they did those things, but it's because it was just like, hey, this is what I need help with right now. And that's always my biggest thing for them is like, always ask, what can I do to help? And that doesn't matter wherever you're at, right? Whether that's at home, whether that's at your grandparents or, at a friend's house, what can I do to help? Someone will always love that question. So I really am instilling that into my kids. So, daily checklists. So, just even writing these things down and allowing them to see them and be able to check them off. You can even start a reward system during the 2 weeks or this can continue, right? Like, okay, if you get this checklist done, you earn something. It could be money, it could be time, maybe it's screen time. You earn 20 minutes of screen time because you did all of these things. But putting limits on some of these things. That reward system could be earning so much money throughout the week and then going to do this activity with the money that they've earned. Again, putting this in place, talking about it, what works best for you and your family. And then also just knowing the schedule, what is happening and how to prepare for those events. Because our kids, again, they just need to know. So, say you're going to a breakfast with Santa and they need to know what to do to prepare for that event. Well, guess what? We're going to get up. I want you guys to get on a nice outfit. We're going to get our hair done nice because we're going to have a picture. We're going to go eat. We're going to see Santa. And then we have some time to, do some activities. I don't know, or we're going to go ice skating. And how do we behave when we're ice skating? Or we're going to grandma and grandpa's. How do we behave while we're there? So again, telling them what's going on, how to prepare, what are the expectations. Here's something else too, helping to reduce the frustration, the chaos, the overwhelm, the arguments, the tantrums, right? This happens. They're kids, they're learning, their brains are always developing, right? But something that I've noticed for my own kids is the food that we're putting in our body and the amount of screen time affects their behavior drastically. So here's a few options. Opt for dye-free options. That food coloring is a huge trigger for our kids. It messes up their brain and it makes them be more reactive. So look for things that are dye-free and maybe reducing the treats. How often do we have treats everywhere we're at this time of season, right? Cookies and cakes and candy canes and who knows what else, right? All the things, cinnamon rolls and pancakes. And I know we have it too, but it's talking about it with our kids and talking to them about, hey, when you have all of these treats, I notice that your behavior is different, and asking them that too. Hey, whenever you have these things, don't you notice that you act a little bit differently? You feel like you're getting in trouble more or you're not making the best choices. Why do you think that is? Just showing them that connection with the sugar and those treats. So, something to kind of flush all of that out would be making sure they're drinking enough water. Again, staying hydrated is going to be really helpful, but also flushing out all of the sugar, the toxins, anything that they have, because we do want to indulge and we want to have some treats, but what can we do to kind of combat that? Something else to combat those treats would be making sure they're eating vegetables and protein. So they're not going to want as many if they're not as hungry. So think about that. Another thing would just be movement. And I know it's a busy time for all of us, but maybe it's movement for us as moms, breathing, yoga, a walk, a quick movement, shorter workout, right? A 20 to 30-minute workout. Or maybe it is going to the gym and saying, you know what? I just need a break. I need to go take 30 minutes to myself and I need to go to the gym. And this is something you just talk about it with your spouse and your kids and build this time into your day because it's going to make a big difference. We need that movement to keep our bodies moving and fresh. Same thing with our kids. They need that movement. Opt for some brain breaks. You can look them up on YouTube or some movements and just do jumping jacks. Just run around the house or go for a walk, right? Anything to kind of get them moving because it is definitely very easy for them to just be staying in one spot. And maybe, they are on their screens a little bit more than normal. And maybe they're in the car. So how can we opt for some of these brain breaks? Well, just a few things to kind of wrap up. This is definitely a busy time for everyone. So here are my suggestions would be set these expectations, have the conversations with your family, but be clear about everything that is coming up. Have those talks with everyone and create that routine, whatever that routine may look like to best fit your family, because it's going to be different and it may be different every day, and that's okay. But at least they know the expectation for the day and they know what needs to be done. And then again, be aware of the food, the water, move your body. All of those things are definitely going to help keep everyone calm. Talk about some deep breathing to kind of calm everyone's nervous system down. Think about those kind of things as well. But most of all, just enjoy and have fun. Snuggle up, watch all the Christmas movies, play games, build puzzles, go see the lights, enjoy this magical time with your family, and just have that fun with your kids and your family and just enjoy it all. So I really do encourage you just to have a good time this holiday season. I hope that these ideas are helpful to just enjoying the time and being with your family. Well, I just want to thank you so much for listening. And if you enjoyed today's episode, I do encourage you to share it with a mom or a friend that this would be helpful for them, because it can be a stressful time of year. It can be full of all the things. And what can we do to reduce that stress, navigate our boundaries, and survive our holiday break? But remember to follow us on social media. We're all over Instagram and Facebook. Those are in the show notes below. And I definitely would love to see you in the Educating Kids and Connecting Families Facebook group. That link is also in the show notes below. But I want to keep the conversation going, and I really do want to hear from you. I would love to know, one, what are some of your holiday traditions? And two, how do you plan to survive Christmas break? And maybe you have a question for me. I would love to hear what your questions may be as you navigate and survive Christmas break. But let's get connected and build a supportive community for you and for the moms around the world. One final thing, we are closing in on the first year of podcasting, and it is so amazing to see this. But I have some exciting news coming up for all the things planned for next year. So stay tuned. I have new changes, new topics, all the things coming in the next episode, episode 53. Be sure to follow us and listen in, because I will be sharing my vision for 2025 and ways that I can help you on your educational journey. Be sure to share your thoughts and ideas in the Facebook group or send me a direct message. Thank you for listening to the Educating Kids and Connecting Families podcast. I appreciate your support and cherish each and every listener. If you found value in this episode, download it, share with a friend, or leave a review. If you're interested in even more resources for you, activities for your kids, and connection, I encourage you to join our exclusive community, Educating Kids and Connecting Families with Christine Furman on Facebook. You can find the link and any other links mentioned in this episode in the show notes below. I'm looking forward to connecting with you and supporting your family.